Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown. Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You unlock this door with the...
What up, YouTube? It's Two Fat Guys Poulos, and it's just Jim today, and that's all good. It's all right. I'm going to lead you in. I want to be your pilot. I'm going to get you there safely, right? That's what I'm going to do. Anyway, welcome to episode 182 of Two Fat Guys Poulos. We got a really good show for you today. Pretty decent week. Not surprised by most of the books, but definitely there was one book this week that definitely was just like slam dunk pick of the week. It's like not even close, but we'll get to it as we go. But first of all, we're going to take care of some business, and then we'll get to the show. So first of all, we're going to talk about our show sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. Yes, that is where me and Nate get our comics. We get our back issues. We get almost anything in it you can think of at Collected. Comic books, trades, omnibus, trading cards, action figures, models, dice, D&D stuff, I mean, plushies, all of that. Anything you can think of, we get it Collected. So if you're in the DFW area, they have 3 locations, one in Fort Worth, one in Hearst, and one in Irving. We definitely would love for you to go check them out if you are in the DFW area. If you're not, they have a website called staycollected.com. Yes, they have an awesome website called staycollected.com where you can get all those things that we just talked about and more. More specifically, they've got cover variants there that you can check out that Ron puts up on the websites. They also have a Two Fat Guys Poulos pull box that you can check out. So yeah, go over to staycollected.com. Go check out that. Do some online shopping. Give them some support. Let them know that Jim and Nate sent you over there. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, we got to talk about our sub goal giveaways. It's wrong button. There it is. Man. Which is when we hit 1,250 subscribers. That's right, we're giving away a slab like we did in our previous slab giveaways when it was on our road to 1,000 subs. So when we hit 1,250 subscribers, we're giving away this X-Men, Uncanny X-Men #1, signed by Jim Chung. Pretty sweet, 9.8 CGC grade. So make sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and most importantly, hit that like button if you are already here live or watching this as a past episode. Make sure to hit that like button. And then when we hit 2,000 subs, now we have other giveaways, other slabs we're giving away between this 1,250 giveaway and 2,000. But when we hit 2,000, just to let you know, we're giving away this Thor #1 Nick Klein sketch variant signed by the great Donny Cates. So make sure to hit that sub button. We do give away some really cool stuff. We'll be giving away this 9.8 CGC grade Thor #1 Nick Klein sketch variant signed by Donny Cates. All right, that's going to do it for the business. Let's talk about this week's comics and anything else you guys want to talk about this week. What up, Joe? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Beast Rab Lad. I love that, dude. I love that that you've changed your name like that. But anyway, this week I think was pretty solid. I say solid. DC was not. I didn't enjoy DC this week. Well, no, that's not true. Well, we'll get into it. Anyway, but yeah, it was a good week, I think, for the most part. I don't think there was anything like absolutely like popping off from the big two. It definitely was an independent week for me, even though I only had one independent book, but it just was. But for the most part, I enjoyed a majority of my books this week. So let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we have Napalm Lullaby, issue number 5, and this is my pick of the week. It just is. This was
Jim's pick of the week.
This book was awesome. We got so much backstory. We figured out a lot about what's going on in the city, what's going on with this religion, what's going on with our two main characters. We find out their origin. Maybe. I mean, who's to say it's really true? I mean, this book has been definitely like over twists and turns all over the place. So, but I don't know. I just thought the comic slapped. It gave us a bunch of information that we've been looking for. And I think it's definitely been building. Obviously, we're 5 issues in and we're finally starting to understand the real ramifications of the storyline about this religion that's taken over the world. Essentially, we find out the origins of the religion, which I thought was pretty freaking crazy, which is basically from a comic book. I just love the commentary. I thought the book was great. I think the dialogue was perfect. The artwork was great. The reveal I thought was really cool. I don't know. I think Remender's really cooking in this book, and so that's why it's my pick of the week. I loved it. Empire, glad the show isn't over. No, yeah, of course, man. Joe says, I like to recommend Namor #1. It's about Namor that's currently in prison that has 4 days to stop a World War C 7 kingdoms fight over the one throne. I almost picked it up. I'm just gonna say that right now. I saw it and I was like, I'll wait. So I'll probably pick it up next week. But I was very close to picking it up because I ended up picking up Daredevil Woman Without Fear, which I actually really enjoyed. That was, if I had a Marvel pick of the week, it'd be that. So yeah. Empire says my pick of the week was Nightwing, but not much came out for me. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, Napalm Lullaby slapped, loved it. I'm so glad I'm picking this up. If you're not picking it up, then I would highly recommend picking up the trade once it's all out. I think it's a really good story. I think it'll be even more effective reading it like all the way through. I think I think some readers would experience that. Some people I think I'm able to keep up month to month, but I could definitely see someone saying like, I'm gonna wait for the trade and read it as a whole, singular issue, if you will. All right, let's jump over to DC, and we're gonna kick it off with Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 29. Tell us what Nate's patois was. I don't even know if he read his books this week. He just started a new job, and that's why he's not here today. He's getting all that situated. So it might be a little... Nate may not be on the live shows for a minute, just because he's trying to work out his schedule and get to a place where he can get on. But I don't even know if he read his books this week. He's been super busy. But I will definitely ask him. Actually, I'll text him right now. But I don't know if he's read his books. Let's see here really quick. Let's text NATO. To read your books this week. Audience. Chat is asking for your patois. There we go. Yeah, so we'll see what he says there. Joe says, yeah, Daredevil Woman Without Fear was good. Yeah, I loved it. Congrats on your job, Nate. I understand that the transition can be hard sometimes. Yeah, it's definitely, it's there for sure. He should be here for New Comic Book Day, but we'll see. Anyway, Batman Superman World's Finest. I liked it. I was wondering if this was going to be the connective tissue to Absolute Power, and it may very well. I'm not going to rule it out because it's Dan Mora and Mark Waid. But I liked how it ended. We're definitely, I think we've potentially seen the last of Dan Mora on this book, with him transitioning over to Superman with Joshua Williamson. So, oops. World's Finest might be, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But I definitely liked the book. I thought the story, though it felt a little drawn out, I liked the ending. I thought it was fun. Kind of seeing Batmite, kind of sacrifice himself to save the day. I thought was really cool. Dan Mora just kills it. I think he really does make this book. I think the writing's strong, but I think Dan Mora really makes this book, in my opinion. So to see him jump over to Superman, does that make me transition to reading Superman? I don't know. DC right now is in a very weird state for me. You guys know that. I don't want to go into that. But, you know, kind of seeing where we end up with Absolute Power, where this DC All In takes us, you know, there's a very good chance that kind of reignites my excitement for DC. I will say, like, I like the main Absolute Power books. I will tell you that every book that I have that's an ongoing in my current pull for DC that's had an Absolute Power tie-in, I've not enjoyed, either because it just, well, the main reason why is because they've felt incredibly rushed and forced. So that's not a big positive for DC going forward after the summer event, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to try to keep my mind open, and we'll get to it in Wonder Woman. Like, I'm literally going to breeze through that book. It was not, I don't know. Anyway, World's Finest was fine. I liked it. I thought it was great. Again, I think Dan Mora definitely lifts this book. Mark Waid has some strong writing, obviously. But it would surprise me if what happens in this book doesn't get mentioned in Absolute Power, especially with what's going on with DC All In, and there's just this idea of a multiverse and an ultimate verse being alongside the other one. I think that goes hand in hand with this storyline, which we're dealing with, fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional beings. I think I could totally see this being a key or tool being used to retcon into those storylines that we're about to get after this summer event. So, but I liked it. I thought it was fun. Dan Mora's artwork was just absolutely phenomenal. All right, next up we have Nightwing, issue number 116, part 3 of the Fall of Grayson. It did the lifting, right? It did what we needed to do, which is we're filling in the gaps of how, why Dick was hiking up in the mountains to go see Deadman, and to just get, we're training, right? We're getting to this end point, and I didn't have a problem with the issue. I do feel like whatever we were thinking the Heartless storyline was going to be, this is definitely something we're taking a different route, in my opinion. Is it the route I wanted to take? No. Do I mind going on that route? No, absolutely not. I think I'll definitely follow it, but I wasn't expecting how we were going to end this book go this way. But, I have high hopes for the finale. I have high hopes to see where Taylor ends it for the next writer and where we're going. Obviously, it's ending to go into this new DC storytelling. Obviously the main timeline is not getting rebooted, but we're starting a new all-in line or absolute line. So we'll see. But again, I didn't have a problem with the issue. I did like the backstory of Deadman being connected to Dick as a human. I thought that was cool. I don't have anything. I think the most positive thing I will say about Nightwing right now is Tom Taylor was like, no, I'm not writing. It doesn't seem like he was either told or he said no, that he was going to write a tie-in to Absolute Power. And I like that. I like that we're just getting the story that we want and getting it finished, rather than saying, you know what, we're going to draw this out for another couple of issues so we can put in some Absolute Power tie-ins here that seem unnecessary, in my opinion. But Joe, I'll get to the halftime question once I get done with DC, which maybe that's next. No, this will be really quick. So we got Wonder Woman issue number 11, Absolute Power tie-in. This to me was incredibly unnecessary. I hate to say it. To show how she lost her powers, I guess that's cool, but I get it. Like, I understand. Like, if I don't know. Like, I guess it's not necessary reading for someone that's picking up the tie-in books, right? But like, again, the tone and shift of this book felt so different to what we were actually doing in the book. And so, I mean, I'm sure it pushed the right buttons for people that were reading it for the tie-in. I'm sure it was like, oh, I wonder how that happened. Well, here it is. It didn't do anything for me. Like it just, the only thing it confirmed for me is that the tie-ins in the main titles feel incredibly forced. They just feel like, yeah, it just wasn't, I don't know, man. Like well, I don't know. It's just not, it's not the story we've been reading, and to put it in the middle of it, it's just disruptive. And I haven't read a tie-in yet that I liked in an ongoing through DC. I'm sure the Task Force 7, I'm sure that's good. I would assume, right? I don't know. You let me know. Like, Empire, are you reading? Have you read the Task Force 7 tie-in book? Because I mean, to me, that seems like a proper, actual tie-in to the book, rather than, you know, I would assume Green Arrow kind of probably feels that way. We'll find out next week. But like most of these tie-ins that are going on in the ongoings just don't feel right. They don't feel like they fit. Anyway, much better. Why don't they give Tom King a super person book, right? I would love to see that. Anyway, it didn't hit for me, unfortunately. But I kind of call it, like I said that in the new comic book day video, I was like, I don't think this is going to be, it's going to feel forced like all the other ones. So, I mean, just is what it is. All right, halftime question, and then we'll get into this. Halftime question from Joe. We know comics are almost zero marketing other than the covers. So being the cover artist has a lot of pressure to sell the book. What does a perfect cover need to have? Oh, man. No red herrings, even though that's really probably the most effective cover for marketing for comic books, because they don't have any marketing. Nate brought in his patois. His patois is fish flies, so that's not surprising. We all kind of knew that. I personally don't like a red herring cover. I think they're just disingenuous, and I'm obviously a very visual person. I'm reading comics, and like when I see something on the cover, it's like, all right, I'm gonna get to see that, and then you don't see it. You're like, well, what the hell was that about? Especially if it's a cover A. If it's a cover B or an alternative or an incentive, that makes sense to me. It totally makes sense to me. But when it's the cover A that's like that, no bueno. I don't know, something like this. Like, this looks amazing. I think for me, and I know it never really is the case, but I would love for the interiors or the cover to match the interiors. Right? But you have cover artists that are never going to touch an interior. But like when I go and buy manga, I look at the cover, that's what the artwork's going to look like inside. You know what I mean? Like, and so I know I guess that's a lot to ask. I think it's stupid to say that, but I guess it's a lot to ask of American comics to like have a connectivity. Like, obviously this is a Nick Klein cover with Nick Klein in the book, but that's not always the case. For me, I think it'd be much more effective to have the same artist in the book on the cover, because you know what you're getting. If I know that John Romita Jr. is in the, like, I would hate to get a Nick Klein cover A, and then it's John Romita Jr. inside the book. Like, that, no, sir. But again, it just comes back to, I think I'm deviating from your question, Joe, but like, I don't understand the excuse of not having an art team on these books so that the art can stay consistent. It just doesn't make sense to me. Because I don't feel like it would cost more. Maybe it does. Maybe it would cost more money. I don't know. But to me, like there shouldn't be an excuse to not have a creative team on a book. I guess I'm almost positive it's probably because of money, but like, you should be able to have the same style of art throughout an entire run. I don't think that's a huge ask, in my opinion. And that what that tells me is we don't, or I guess the industry itself, the comics itself, don't appreciate the medium that much to pay more money to have one or two artists that can mimic each other. I just think it would be more solid. I think more people could jump into it because I think for me it's incredibly distracting. So like I want my cover to match the interiors. That's just me. Joe, tie-ins are a tricky task for Big Two to execute, especially when it's already expensive as it is for comics. So have to throw away comics seems dumb, right? I think Alex Ross does a great job to make beautiful covers while it also captures the tone of the book. I would agree. I guess if there are two artists, in my opinion, that could do covers and I wouldn't be disappointed if they weren't in the book just because they're so fucking beautiful, would be Alex Ross and Mark Brooks. Like Mark Brooks's covers are just gorgeous. Art Germ. So I don't know. That's where I would go. But again, like, I just wish there was more consistency in American comics because, like, I don't know. Like, if they need more time, then give them more time. But that's just not how the business is structured, unfortunately. All right, let's keep moving. Next up, we have the Invincible Iron Man issue number 20. You know, it was fine. We knew that Emma and Tony were not going to get back together or weren't going to stick together, even though it kind of feels like Tony's kind of like, you know, hinting that they might. But you know, this was just like Batman. He got a reset. He got all of his money back, or he got money back. He's setting up the West Coast Avengers. Yay. You know, it did its thing. It did the job, right? But at the end of the day, this was an X-Men book. Whether you love that or not, that's what it was. To see Tony kind of get all of his stuff back, I guess, is cool. But then I don't know if you guys saw the announcement of what Iron Man's or what it's going to be next. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it. Looks like we're kind of going in a steampunk direction, which I'm sure there's some people that would really enjoy that. I don't know. I may be skipping out on that. I may pick up like the first issue, but then I think I might be done. And I don't know about, like, you got to convince me on this new West Coast Avengers book that's potentially coming out. I'm sure we'll get more news about that as we get into Comic-Con. Be prepared for a ton of breaking comic book news videos next week. It's because I make them so short, right? I make them anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes long. So I'm going to keep my ear to the ground and try to make those videos as fast as possible when something of significance for me anyway, and I think for our audience drops. But as for Invincible Iron Man, I'd give it a solid B-. It did its job, but you know, going back to the previous run, I thought was just so much better, and this one just was a X-Men tie-in, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's, you know, but it wasn't initially. It just wasn't solicited to us like that, and so I don't know. It was fine. It did its thing. It moved the needle for Krakoa's ending, and that's what they used it for. But I will say I am disappointed with the Emma-Tony relationship. I wanted more. And it was very clear that it never was going to be anything but a farce. Even though at the end of this issue, they both kind of came out saying, like, you know, kind of liked it. You know, I wish we could keep going, but obviously we can't. So, you know, is what it is. Back to your question, Joey said, would you be okay with main artist using AI of his own work to help with deadlines? I don't know. That's tricky. I'm kind of 50-50 on that, but I think I may lean more towards yes, especially if the artist themselves is building their own AI within Diffusion. Then I guess I'd be okay with it. Like if they're submitting their own work to the AI, to Stable Diffusion or whatever they're using, you know, all you need is a really, 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 really good PC, and you can produce some stuff that people are kind of second guessing if it's AI or not. So I think if the artists themselves is submitting their own artwork, using their own artwork to train an AI model, I guess I wouldn't have a problem with it if they're the ones doing it. But if they're using other people's artwork, right, to train an AI model and then submit that artwork and using other people's artwork, I wouldn't be cool with that. But if they're using their own, they're taking all of their files, all that shit, and training an AI model off of their artwork, I would lightly lean towards I'd be okay with it. It wouldn't surprise me, if that makes any sense. I don't know. It's interesting. Let's see here. Joe, I know a lot of people will look back at this run as an X-Men tie-in. Can't disagree, but I look at it differently. I look at it as is Iron Man that put his reputation at risk to be an ally. I like that. That's good. I'd agree with you with that. Also, his relationship with Emma was just as good as She-Hulk and Jack of Heart's relationship. I wish it had been. We didn't get enough of it. Like, we got maybe one issue where they were kind of like, will they, won't they, or kind of, but then at the end of it, it was just like, oh, it's just a farce. I wanted, like, it would be so cool to see Tony and Emma for like a year just in comics being together. You know, I think that's one thing that Marvel, like, it just seems like they're kind of afraid to do. And it felt like we had that with She-Hulk for a minute, and where it's about to end, right? But who knows what gets announced at Comic-Con? Maybe we get some kind of announcement. Cross your fingers. But like, to me, like, that aspect of that run helped it so much because it just gave this human element to a character that we longed for. And it finally gave her like the chance to like believe and the chance to actually feel like her as a character. I mean, we're talking about She-Hulk, but just felt like she was able to be her. And I think that's why Rainbow does such a good job on that run. Anyway, Iron Man was fine. From the Ashes, A New Beginning, Phoenix #1. I really liked this. I thought this was fantastic. I will say Jean did come across as incredibly OP. But it's the fucking Phoenix, right? Like, you can't not. But there's definitely a hook in here. I think Stephanie Phillips really cooked this book. I think she did a great job. I liked the artwork. I like the cosmicness of it. I think I don't know what Nate thought about it. I'm going to have to ask him. But I think there's a definite... I think Nate would reluctantly like this book, in my opinion, just because of who's going to be used in it. You know, we got Nova in this issue. We got Cyclops' dad coming up in the next issue. Like, it's hitting all the right buttons for characters that Nate likes, even though Cyclops is definitely here, right? So, anyway. How do you know Hulk is ending? September previews has a New York beginning. I think that was just the assumption that Nate pulled off because we hadn't seen it in September yet. Plus, I felt like he said, Phillips came out and said that he came out saying that this is going to be the end. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we misread it. Luby coming in with Texas Forest. Love Nova. Yeah, Nova's dope. And yeah, I thought he was really good here. Oh, and then apparently Nova's getting a TV show. Like, it's been confirmed from Kevin Feige. So we're going to get that in a couple years. So hell yeah. Go get that #1 before it's probably already blowing up. Joe says Phoenix #1 is my patois. I think if I have Marvel pick of the week, Phoenix.
Yes, Chips. Pick of the week.
Like 100%. This is a great book. I am excited for it. I think I am officially pulling this book. I am not gonna like do it every FOC. I'm just gonna put it on the pull and it's there now until they decide to not do it anymore. But I liked it. All right, last book of the night. Again, this is kind of a short show just because it was a short week. Next week's going to be short too because we don't have a lot of books next week. We got Ultimate X-Men issue #5. It's slowly coming together. We're Peach is assembling her actual X-Men team. which obviously has similarities to the X-Men we know, but she's just kind of doing her own thing. I absolutely love it. You know, this is the closest thing that we've gotten to manga in the Marvel books right now, and the fact that it's in the Ultimate books are great. But I really liked this book. I like seeing the character development and just the I don't know, I liked it. It's fun. It doesn't feel like it's part of the Ultimate universe, but I gotta think that, like, at some point we're gonna see the Maker. You know what I mean? Like, I think we'll see the Maker at some point, and when we get that, and we see the Ultimates book that's being currently written, and then you see these mutants pop up in that book, hell yeah, dude. I liked it. I thought this was so much fun. I like this book. I know there's a lot of people that are still very unhappy with the direction that Marvel gave with this book, but this one is just fucking awesome. Louis says this is like the old Ultimate line standalone universe. I mean, yeah. So this is put up, Jaden. It's all good. We're about to end, but you can watch the episode as a past episode. This is part of the new line, but out of all the Ultimate storylines right now going on currently, this one is just it feels like it's on its own, because it just doesn't feel like it has any connectivity to the current Ultimates. Joe coming in, I'm frustrated with this book. Peach is talented, but so is Todd McFarlane, but both have a hard time telling a story. I understand that. I definitely understand that. I think this run, whether it's fair or not, will read so much better when it's in a cohesive collectiveness. I think her previous two stories, the Demon Days, I think were a lot stronger, but I'm not saying this isn't good. I think it is, but there's definitely some fluidity going on in this book, where I think if you read it issue to issue, back-to-back issues, it would probably read better. If there was any critique to it, I think it would be that. John coming in with the super chat, and it'll pop up here later. It says, sorry I'm late. My top 3 were Phoenix, Hulk, and Ultimate X-Men. There you go, man. Phoenix was my Marvel pick of the week. Hulk was, I don't think I even reviewed it. That's why this feels so short. I went right past it. We'll go back to it. Hulk was crazy, dude. Nick Klein lost his fucking mind on that book. It was insane. Joe, this run has Suicide, Teen, Escorts, Colts. How does the preteens come up with a team X-Men? Feels forced. I can see that, but I don't know. I liked it. I like it. And maybe it's because of just like how much manga I read and how much anime I watch. Like, you get into some weird shit, like in weird situations in those things. So like, I guess those types of idea, like the Suicide and the Colts and all that stuff, like it happens in those kind of storylines. But I get it. I get what you're saying, Joe. Let's go back to Hulk, because I totally skipped it because I went into the halfway question and didn't even get to talk about it. Nick Klein lost his shit in this book. Like, he hadn't been on the book for a minute, and he came in and brought his S tier game. Like, holy hell. This reminded me of Al Ewing's run so hard. Like, so hard. With the Green Door and the internal dialogue between Bruce and Hulk, and like, it was mad crazy. This was a dope. I loved this issue. And then to see Bruce with this, like, essentially this choice to potentially get rid of the Hulk. I mean, obviously it's not gonna happen, but I don't know. This was good. This was really good. You know what? No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna backtrack, but this was very close to being my Marvel patois. It was so good. Joe, sorry I forgot to add Jason Aaron's Namor, which might be my top book of the week total. Yeah, so Joe definitely recommended that. I'm gonna go pick it up next week, because next week is definitely a light week, and I kind of flipped through it and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. So I need to check that out. Joe, I'm gonna give it one more issue to finish the arc to convince me to keep it going. Nope, I do not blame you there, Joe. I don't, not one bit. All right, so obviously a short week. Sorry for the show being so short, but we just have a lot of books this week, and next week is even shorter. It's one of those weird. I think July's in this weird phase, and also we're just not picking up a lot of the books. Let me double check. I know there's a major book dropping next week, which I am super stoked for. So that'll be interesting, and it's a Tiny Onion book. Woo-hoo-hoo. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of San Diego Comic-Con shit to talk about next week too. Yeah, let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got six books next week. Technically two independents, even though one's a DC Dark label. It's looking like a good week though. New X-Men book, an Ultimate book. I think next week's show will cook for sure. Hey, let me know, guys. Let me know in the chat, and if you're watching this as a Passover, let me know in the comments. Do we like the new Comic Book Day shorts? Are those fun to watch, or does it seem repetitive? And do we like the breaking comic book news videos? I'm liking it because I'm using this new camera. I'm using this thingy, which is super fun to use, and it's just giving me more, yeah. John, next week, Nice House by the Sea. Hell yes, dude. So stoked for that. Yeah, Joe, as a massive Hulk fan, don't want Banner and Hulk to break up. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will, but we'll see. Louis says, yes, I really like the breaking news stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely do it. I think next week has a huge potential to be like a ton of those videos, so get ready. I don't know. We'll see what drops next week with Comic-Con. But I think I'll be making a lot of videos next week. But yeah, keep them up, more content. Okay, cool. Like it. Love to hear that. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Again, I apologize for the short episode, but it's just a short week. Next week will be short too. But we'll see if Nate's on or not. Again, like I said, he's got a new job and just kind of working around that schedule. Who knows? We may end up rescheduling, or not rescheduling, but changing the time of the live show depending on how his schedule works out. I don't know quite yet, but there might be a couple weeks here where we're just doing just Jim for a couple weeks on the live. So bear with me. I appreciate it. I love hanging out with you guys and talking, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, thank you for watching. We'll catch you guys we'll catch you this Tuesday where we'll talk about our new comic books for New Comic Book Day, and then we'll do another live episode that following Sunday at 8 o'clock. With or without Nate, we'll have to wait and see. And then with any breaking comic book news that shows up, I will be here with it, and we'll kill it. Also, yeah, Deadpool Wolverine next week. I want to see it on Friday, but I think I'll probably see it the following week, just because I don't want to fight the crowds, and I don't work a traditional job anymore, so I can go watch it on Tuesday at like 9 o'clock in the morning. But I will try to see it before the show, but there's a high probability that doesn't happen. But anyway, just Jim. Yeah. No, John, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching, So thanks again, guys. And as always, be kind to one another and read more comics. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Later. Nice, Joe. Nice. Yeah, I really want to get that popcorn bucket, if you know what I mean. Don't read into that. Cut that. I didn't say that. Dang, Joe. Hell yeah. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.